Oh, yes. Well, you know the saying that life is an adventure. I'm having an adventure this week. And it's not an adventure holiday. It's much less fun than that. There's a little pipe has burst in below your feet in the cab on this tractor, and there's two hoses below it like that, and you can put your hand up in below, but just about get your hand and arm in. You couldn't get two hands in to work at it. So I thought it was one of those hoses was blowing, and like they're way up and below your feet nearly when you're sitting in the tractor. So anyway, I was cutting the hedge there, and I drove forward and looked behind me. There's a puddle of oil on the ground, so I had to rush home and start and strip her. But it ends up, I took the floor plate off the tractor out of the below your feet. Thought I could get it from there, but you can't. It's just so tight. So I've had to take the back wheel off at the far side, take all the bolts out of your cab. It hinges up to let me in below to get at it. So 2 days work. Here's the inside view here of the tractor cab. There's a floor plate goes on here and then a big rubber mat. So I have taken the rubber mat off. Let me see if I'm shining a torch here to bring you light as well. So this pipe is in below this black thing here where I'm shining the torch, and you can hardly get your hand in, and it's a way on forward and below there actually. When you're sitting in the tractor, there's your clutch and your brake, so it's down in there. A real pig to get at. So there we are, that's the wheel off. This wee pin goes through here, that's a hinge, and it lets the cab hinge up this way. And then there's another wee hinge at the front, that pin there is going in through it. And that lets the cab tilt towards me. You can see well when everything's off. There's my rusty mudguards that I need to get this little bit here that fits in it. It's a wee spacer with the tyres being wide tyres on her. It looks bad, but it's not really doing much. But there you are. Anyway, that's what goes on. Those two little slips I think are over £400. Now I'm listening out for the combine coming here because the oilseed rape's ready to do today, but it's Willie Steel and the silage harvest. Now I just have a branch or two to cut off here. Let the combine through without scratching her. You have to watch the paint work in the International here. That'll let him through now. Here we go now. We've had to call the International in here to bring the header up for the combine because the Massey wasn't fit for it. Yesterday afternoon all came to a standstill. Rain was to come at 4, but it actually arrived at 3, and if it had have come at 4 we would have got this all finished, the whole lot. But anyway, that's as it goes. So if a little bit of a breeze would come up would be good. And as I speak, the breeze is getting up. That'll be good. If we just had like half an hour or so of that, it would help. Really help to crisp that up and dry it off. Just to have a little look at the combine here while she's stopped. There's a wee ladder goes up in the back and you can go up in. But this is your chopper on the back, and when you're working with oilseed rape, either if you're looking to keep the straw or whatever you would call it out of it once the head comes off, you can either chop it or keep it. Now in the back here is the choppers, and it's just a series of serrated blades that flies around and chops it into wee lengths. Now there's your oilseed rapeseed lying on the ground. See, all the size of a seed. So that's your chopper, and we're going to go up in below here. We'll have a wee look in here first. This is your back wheels, your 4-wheel drive system. Here's our little ladder, and as you look up the inside of the combine, that takes us up onto the platform where your engine is. So there you are, that's your engine in there. Now the engine's sitting up very high. I'm only realising it myself. We're like 12 foot up, so they're a top heavy thing. And there's your exhaust. And this tube here, that's your auger that goes out to auger the grain into the trailer. Anyway, that's our combine. At the front of the combine here are at the sides foremost part, you have this reaper bar system here, because this is a very tight tangle of stuff. You could hardly walk through it. So that clips it and leaves a straight edge that the combine doesn't pull it out of the ground. And this is your reel at the front here. This turns round and combs the head down into the rollers here. Now you don't want it going too hard and knocking the seeds off the thing. You don't want it down too low, or it does that as well. So there's a whole way of driving a combine, which I have done once or twice in my lifetime years ago. And there's your front view on the reaper at this side. So when you go into the table at the front, you have your little fingers, reaper bar fingers here. You see that there. Stock's going in there and getting clipped. This reaper bar goes back and forward onto these rollers here at the front, and that feeds it up into the auger, which catches it, takes it along. Oh, there's not a lot of room in here. To the throat in there, as I would call it, and that takes it up into the heart of the combine, up and through there, and up into the beaters and everything that shakes and knocks the heads off that. And you need to have a lot of crop to cut to justify it, because a combine is the price of a house.
When the lids are fully open. It's just emptying out now into the trailer beside us.
And how many of those to fill the trailer?
Three good binfuls will fill that trailer there. There's a sensor inside it. Comes on whenever it reaches the full limit to put the beacons on to alert the cart man that we're full.
I'm having to do an escort for the combine here. That wider, but thank you. So this is the dryer here. And this is our oil seed rape. Ready to be dried.
Okay, I'm going to take you through into the drying room here and run you through the drying process from start to finish. So here you can see the roller doors usually up. We tip the grain straight in. The damp grain comes from the field. We were combining today approximately 11.5, 12%. You can see it's tipped in here to the intake pit, ready to be dried. So start through the process. We have an intake conveyor that's in the floor in a large pit below where you can see the hole that has appeared there. The oilseed rape is making its way into the intake pit here, over the wall, into next door. So the grain itself is coming up this conveyor intake, up the swan deck. It's dropping into a pre-cleaner here. The pre-cleaner itself is taking out any dust or chaff. It's blowing it up this tube and taking it outside to the field outside where it can be collected. The oilseed rape is making its way up the first elevator, up to the top platform, where you can see it's going horizontally across another conveyor and dropping down into the dryer. The dryer itself holds about 25 tonne when it's full. The grain itself falls by gravity down through the dryer. You've got a large diesel burner here that's fired up. It's blowing hot air through the grain, which is taking out the moisture. As it makes its way to the bottom, it eventually comes through the discharger, which is running horizontally along, collecting the grain. Then it's taken back up through the second elevator vertically, and then across and into the store next door. This is the control panel. All the adjustments are made in terms of your hot air temperature, your moisture control, and your discharge rate. You can control how fast or slow it discharges from the bottom, depending on how wet it is. So that's the oilseed rape making its way out of the dryer now into the store next door. Just going to do a quick sample here to see what moisture it is. In around 7.2, which is pretty good.
So now we've fixed the pipe. It's in below the cab. We've set the cab back down again. So this little hinged bit here, I'm going to hammer. This is the hinge that lets your cab hinge up. So you just put a wee bar in it to support, to make the hinge. So that has to be tapped out again. So that's what I'm going to do now. I just have my little extra safety thing. She's up on a jack there, a 10-ton jack. But just when you're working in below, if anything would give way, I have that little timber chocks for it to sit on as well. So now the wheel just needs to come in. Now getting the alignment back is not going to be handy, and this is a heavy old wheel. When it's up on it, it's upright, but if it gets off its central axis and falls on you, so let me see. If I put a stud in that, they're all out of line with the stud holes, but I'll put one in, I'll jack her up, and then she should fall into place.